Let's try an experiment, shall we? Think of a situation where you were the customer and you received what you perceived to be bad customer service. This could be a restaurant you visited, it could be a trip you took, could be a hotel you stayed in or an airline you used. Maybe you recently purchased a computer or an appliance. Think of one situation where things didn't go so well. Got it? Now ask yourself, what was it exactly about that experience that made it a bad customer service experience for you? See if you can boil that down to a single word. All customers have two basic needs. They have a technical need, and by technical I'm not referring to a computer need, but rather to the reason they seek out a service in the first place. But they also have a personal need, and there's a difference between those two. For instance, say you visit a restaurant, and maybe this was the situation you had in mind for our experiment. If so, your technical need is food. Are you necessarily a satisfied customer just because you received the food? Well, not necessarily. Maybe the food was cold, or the wait person was rude, or it took too long to get the food. If any of those things happens, most likely you won't return to that restaurant anytime soon. Your technical need may very well have been met, but your personal need was not. Now think back to the bad customer service experience that you thought of a moment ago. Chances are the thing that made that experience a bad one had to do with the way you received the service and not the product itself. They were rude, they weren't responsive, they were uncaring, they gave you the runaround. But chances are it was the personal need that was left unmet and not the technical one. Returning to our restaurant analogy, if the food came out cold, but the wait staff bent over backwards to make it right, maybe they apologized profusely, or maybe they comped the meal, or maybe you got a free dessert out of it. If they practiced service recovery, you'll likely go back to that restaurant even though your technical need wasn't met. Why? Because we tend to judge the value of service based on our personal need rather than the technical need. In fact, at least in the short term, meeting the personal need is even more important than meeting the technical one. Customer service is bound up in providing exceptional service that meets a personal need, regardless of whether you're able to meet the technical need or not. That requires setting the customer's expectations and then exceeding those expectations. Well, that wraps up part one of our three-part series on customer service foundations. Join us next time when we'll look at the full range of consequences that stem from a single bad customer service experience. Until then, be sure all your support activities are customer-focused, performance-driven, and outcomes-based.